Craig, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You guys sound great. You've been here previously. We appreciate you coming back. First, how are you doing? How are you handling these tumultuous times we're all navigating through? What's your secret? Because you seem very wise.
Going on tour and driving long distances where I can't look at my phone. I think that I would recommend that. I'm driving to Boise tomorrow, Denver the day after that. Almost no phone looking. So that's my advice.
That's brilliant. I've taken all social media apps off my phone, all news apps. I call my phone now the bad news machine. It's always bad news. So your latest album is out. It's called Always Been. It's fantastic. That's your 6th solo album plus 9 albums with the whole steady. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of songwriting. How do you keep the ideas coming?
I like to, I just keep busy. And I think at this point, it's pretty much a, appointment. It's to sit down in the morning, first thing, after I drink, my second or third cup of coffee and work. And, I don't really believe in inspiration. I believe in going to work and sitting down and say, I'm going to write a song. It might be a terrible song, but I'm going to try to make it better once I write it. And that's what works for me.
Do you have self-imposed quotas? Do you try to write a song a week, a month, a day?
I have two to three creative hours a day. So I try not to push it, but songs come pretty quickly, so I write a lot of songs. One a week, 2 a week, something like that.
You're such a great storyteller, like that song you just performed. I mean, in my head, it's like a little mini movie. I can see all of those characters. Do you picture them when you're writing? Do you know what that preacher looks like?
Absolutely. I mean, that's how I get there. And I start, sometimes I start with just a sketch of who is this guy? And that one kind of was the first song. It's the first song on my new album. And it opened up a lot. I wrote a lot about him throughout the album. But it was a priest who was disgraced partially, almost fully, because he joined the clergy without having actual faith. And it caught up to him in the end.
Something tells me that's probably happened in real life.
Yes, absolutely.
More than once. So when you're writing a song, because you're such a great storyteller, I'm assuming the words come first, then the music?
I mean, I wouldn't say, yes, in the... I would qualify that, but I usually have like 2 chords, like the most simple skeleton of music that I write the words to. And then I kind of add complexity to the music. But I need something like a tempo and a chord change to get started.
And so you probably have folders and folders of songs that you just feel like aren't ready, they're not good enough.
Yeah, the producer I worked with a lot, Josh Kaufman, tells a story of the first time I met with him, and I brought out this folder that was kind of like falling onto the table, and he was like, "Oh, geez, like that's a lot," but I do, and I am actually, and I have to admit, I don't know if this is great, but I am a big printer, so I do have like reams of songs.
Well, you're in Portland. We don't care about people that don't recycle. There's plenty of trees. I do the same thing, Craig. I do the same thing.
I feel a little bad about it, but I'm just being honest.
We appreciate your honesty. I know you're just a wee fan of Bruce Springsteen. Talking about like unused material, he's got like 7 albums coming out in June. You've heard about that, of course.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I mean, I think there is something to. I can say for myself. I'm 53, and when I turned 50, I felt an urge to crank it up, to sort of look at like what's left and say, I just want to create, I want to make stuff, and he might be feeling, he's at least 20 years older than me, he might be feeling that times 10,
That's a good point. That's very possible. You said one time in an interview you like writing about people who are in between jobs or in between relationships or in between stability. I've been in between all those things, and it's not a fun place to hang out. What draws you to that?
Well, I think people make quicker moves when they're in between, and one of the things I really like writing about is, and I've thought about this as being a touring musician. I often am walking places where no one else is walking, like on a frontage road or a service road or something like that, and you really kind of feel out of touch with the other people who are going to work or in their houses or having dinner, and you're at odds with sort of the world, and I think that's really an interesting place to approach things from. And I've always been attracted to that in between places, like, traveling. That last song was between Harrisburg and Bethany Beach, Delaware. Trying to get from one place to another, I think, is just an interesting state and an emotional state that's interesting to write about.
Last question, I want to talk about the podcast. Craig, I don't know how he has time, but he also hosts a very successful podcast called That's How I Remember It. And you explore the relationship, the connection between memory and creativity. What is that connection?
Well, I think it's different in every artist. I have one creative person on each episode, and we talk about that. And when I got into it, I had a thesis that I thought everyone would sit down and say, I have a great memory. The first question I ask everyone is, do you think you have a good memory? And I thought everyone would say, yes, I do, and I'm telling the real story. Yeah. But it hasn't been the case at all. I think it's 50-50. Some people say, I can't remember anything. I do think the one thing I've found is a lot of people's fictional work is populated with details from their own lives and their own memories. So, and I do that too. For instance, I call an Uber to come pick me up. It's a Nissan Altima. The next day I'm writing a song, I need a car.
Nissan Altima.
Nissan Altima. There it is. It somehow got in. Even if that song's about a guy, a priest who doesn't believe in God, which is not me. The Nissan Altima was me. And so that's how I think things appear.
Just fascinating. I could talk to you forever. Check out the podcast. It's wonderful. Craig Finn, everybody.
Thank you.